Hey guys, do you remember your first love? Do you remember how that person made you feel? Do you remember the butterflies in your stomach that you would get being around this person? Do you remember how young and naive you were? How you thought that was going to be the only person that you were ever going to love? Well, guys, today's story time is going to be about my first love. So, this took place in middle school, 8th grade, right before high school. And it came as a shock to me because I wasn't that popular kid. I wasn't on anybody's radar whatsoever. When your mom dresses you in button ups and sweater vests and khaki pants sometimes to go to public school, well, you can guess how that went. And I was more so the kid that was worried about trying to smuggle whatever DS or Game Boy or CD player to school so that I wasn't bored out of my mind. So, this story actually takes place on the bus. Now, I would ride the bus back and forth to school. The bus would pick me up in front of my house. It would drop me off in front of my house. So, one day, I get on the bus, minding my own business, not really focusing on too much. I think I was playing my Game Boy at the time or something like that. But, anyway, I notice that we have a new stop. New girl, she gets on. And, of course, we never talked. It was more so like a glance, a nod, went back to doing whatever, looking out of the window or daydreaming or whatever. And this goes on for a couple of weeks. And one day, we get on the bus, and I notice she pulls something out of her backpack. Now, where she was sitting right next to me, but on the other side of the bus. So, I noticed one day, she pulls something out of her backpack, and she opens it, and what would you know? It's a Nintendo DSi. And this was the first time I had seen a Nintendo DSi. I had actually had the Nintendo DS Lite. I had a white one. But the Nintendo DSi was the one with the camera. You could take photos on it, and it was just revolutionary to me. I'd never seen it before. I was like, oh my gosh, like what? They have DSs with cameras on them? My mind was blown. I was like, oh my gosh. So I immediately turned to her and I'm like, hey, what? You have a DS too? Yo, look. I waved my white DS. And from that day on, we instantly started. She was like, oh my gosh, whoa. She was like, we should Pixo chat. Do you guys remember the messaging system that the DS would have, the Pixo chat? Yeah, shout out, nostalgia. But anyway, so from then on, we would message and Pixel chat. And at this time, I didn't know what Facebook was. And I think this was around the time where I first got my first Facebook because she was like, hey, you should add me on Facebook. I'm like, well, what's Facebook? Well, it's like an online messaging, like social media thing. I was like, oh, shoot, okay. So that was the first time I'd ever made a Facebook. And at the time, I would get on there. I made it on the Wii. I made it on my Wii. So, oh my gosh, I remember. Did anybody shout out to the Nintendo Wii? Also, they had the browser on there, so I made an account on there, and we would play Farmville. Oh, remember that Facebook game? Facebook games, Farmville, man. But anyway, every day we would message, and oh man, we would send notes to each other. And sometimes we had the same class together, so sometimes we would just sit in the back of the class and goof off or whatever. And one day, I remember we were supposed to go on a field trip, and we were all supposed to get permission slips signed. And I remember telling her, going to her, it's like, yo, this would be like a great date, like we're going to the zoo or something, like you should totally get your people on board. But I think something had happened. She had gotten in some trouble and she wasn't able to go, and it was crazy. She was really distraught about it, and it was a bad day. But anyway, man, it was so good. It was such a great time. Man, really missed the girl. And what ended up happening was, well, I ended up going to high school. I think she was in 7th grade, and she was supposed to be staying here, but at the time she was in the foster care system. Something down here had happened, and they had to send her up to her family members up in another state. And to be honest, I lost contact with her. After she moved, she wasn't really on Facebook too much. Every now and then I would hear from her, but I think over the next like couple of months, I never heard from her. But a couple of years later, well, many years later, when I turned 18, I actually looked her up on Facebook and found another account. And I messaged her and we talked, but of course, we were in middle school and it wasn't the same. But it was still good talking to her. Actually, I think we've fallen out of touch again. I don't know if I'm able to find her now. I don't think I'm friends with her anymore on Facebook. I don't know. I think she might have made another one. It might have been hacked or something like that. But anyway, that was today's story time. Oh man, my first love. Go ahead and put an X down in the comment or share your first love story in the comments. I'm gonna actually be putting out some gameplay. I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys want to see any gameplay or like walkthrough gameplays? If so, let me know in the comments. Hey guys, like, comment, and subscribe. I love you.
Enemy slain. Double kill.